There we are. Nice. Ooh, this regeneration is helping out a lot. Thank you, Palomesho. Paralyze. No.
This is your end.
Defend. There we are. Give some more energy. Sauser. Right, now we're home free. Not so fast. Might as well keep trying to keep our health up. Take that. Boom. About time. Ooh! That was a champion, alright! We need its essence. Its heart. What? I'm not taking any chances. We'll take its black heart with us. Saren? Saren nodded and prepared a short knife. Oof. It's done, ma'am. Good. Let's hurry before time runs out on my people. And Everburn. They were cautious now that they were walking closer to the mountains of fire. So, Archwizards, have you made up your mind? Which creature is the demon's friend? I have an idea, but I'm not sure if it is the right answer. We may only tell a loyal creature if we come in contact with it. Then let's not waste any more of our breath discussing it. They made an effort to avoid the demons of the land, but attracted the creatures that coexisted among them. Golems, drake, and inferno hounds. A fire dog howled, signaling the whole pack to protect their territory. Even Trouble found these hounds to be heinous. So, I guess this isn't your family after all. I told you this was a waste of time. Review your party before proceeding. I mean, might as well keep Trouble in there. Apolomesho is good with water attacks, and I bet you that's going to be fantastic with these hounds. So, let's keep, yeah, let's keep the party we have right now. Yeah. They resist fire. Pushes the enemy to the front of the back row, and it's suggested to cause a scared condition. I mean, it's better than nothing. Yeah, we're gonna throw up a ward. They're gonna probably breathe fire on us. Or just punch us, or bite us. Bite all three of us in a row, apparently. Somehow they can do that. Alright, part the waves.
Got no time for this.
You're dead.
Prepare yourself.
Nice.
How do you like this? Ha! That's best.
Okay. Ooh. Trouble's burning? Really? Alright. Whatever. Yeah. No mercy.
If you dare. fossils everywhere.
Sorry, Trouble. We tried. More hounds clawed out of their dens and growled at the group. Their teeth were bared as they advanced frighteningly. They're not going away! Amokiki swung his sword at them, but they were not intimidated. The hounds barked and snapped at their sharp teeth. Man's best friend. These are the master's friend? Take a trophy from one of the dead ones and let us be gone from this place. Run, Trouble! Saren procured a fang from one of the hounds that they had slain. Before the other hounds attacked, and they fled from the mountains altogether. Nice. I didn't think we'd get the ingredients so fast, especially considering I wasn't helping much. You weren't helping on purpose? I was going to eventually. Put the stuff on the table. I love Shambhara's dialogue. Saren laid out the bone of the Death Knight, the heart of the Goblin Champion, and the fang of an Inferno Hound on the table. You figured out how to read dark magic recipes? It took me a while to learn. Shambhara seemed genuinely impressed at the speed and accuracy of the group's combined knowledge. Okay then, I'll just plop these in and give it a stir, and it should be ready. Now don't look directly at it, it'll sting your eyes. Loren sat on the edge of her seat, impatient for the potion to be done. There, it's done. Take it and get out of my house. You're still coming with us. Blast it, you caught that. Fine. That's not very much. How are we supposed to treat all of the Amazons with this? Put it into the water supply or something like that. It's too potent like this anyway. But this will work? I'm good at what I do. Of course it will work. We should test it on one person first, just to be safe. Being safe would be getting this to all your sick people as soon as possible. You're really going to hold off because you can't trust me? Your choice. We trust you. Saren, rush this potion back to the Citadel as fast as you can. Tell Breza what to do with it. We will catch up to you soon. Saren took the potion and ran outside, obeying his queen without question. He escaped the swamps untouched and advanced at great speed from the benefit of traveling alone. Saren could not have made it sooner to the Citadel, and judging by how grateful Breza was to see him, despite their relationship, he was just in time. By the time Loren and the rest of the group made it to the Citadel, the potion had been administered, and the signs of recovery were promising. Your Highnesses, I do not know how you managed a cure for the plague, but it is subsiding. It should be safe for you and your friends to enter again. That was easy. Good job, Trouble. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Let's add a few more magic points to Trouble. We are leveling up very quickly. Very quickly indeed. Yes. Yes. Strength, skill. Yes. Kiki. And I can increase shield wall to 3. Nice. Because I use that a lot. And Ray's done. Dora. Sure. And Mesfit. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah. Devour. 3. Nice. All of the Amazons are well? Not well, Your Grace, but getting better. It will still take some time for them to fully recover. What about the war? We need our troops to march on Everburn. It may not be wise to rush the recovery. But for how long am I to wait? We'll follow you whenever you command, Your Majesty. Loren frowned, knowing that she could not ask the alien to fight for her so soon. Arrival, generals from the Empire. General Samael and Ashtran entered the citadel and greeted Loren. You're here, and looking none the worse for the wear. We heard that the Amazons had gotten sick. Did you need aid? We send you our doctors. Thank you, General. We have dealt with the problem. We are now recovering. Great, because I've come to announce that the blasted council has finally gotten off their high horse. The city of Horus put a lot of pressure on the council, but it was my testimony that sealed it. They've allowed me the power to grant someone the role of supreme commander of our army. Ooh, I wonder who that will be. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the Empire to allow you the highest authority over my and Astran's forces. Use them well. I will. Oh, look! The Amazons and the humans and the elves and the dark elves are actually working together in harmony against a common enemy. And the elves? The elven ambassador visited while you were out, Majesties. He gave me this. Breza retrieved a wand covered in leaves with a jewel on the end. That is the scepter of the Weald. Mirth took the stick and turned it upright, presenting it officially to Loren. It signifies the leader of the Protectors of the Forest, which means you control all elven troops. The elders have agreed to grant me their military as well? That makes two. You have united the armies. Loren gripped the scepter firmly. So, we have come to the end of it all. Everyone stood in silence, taking in the fact that the greatest battle of their time was very close to reality. Are we prepared to lay siege to the demons? The Amazons still need to recover their strength, but we will march on your orders. If there is anything we need to accomplish before seeking out Faust, we should do it now. This is the end of Chapter 3. In Chapter 4, you will not be able to travel the world or use the camp feature. It is highly recommended that you finish your business with your party members. You will have one more chance to purchase items in Chapter 4, but you will not be able to travel to the shops you've seen thus far. Let the Amazons regain their strength. In the meantime, I will complete what is left to be done. Yes, Your Grace, I will be here, awaiting your orders. To advance to Chapter 4, speak with Breza in the Citadel's castle. Interesting. Oh. So we've got last-minute things to do. Last-minute stuff to get at the shops. So, I'm gonna go and do that. I'm gonna do some shopping. Actually, let's... Can we camp? Can we go to the camp? And it was a quiet night against all odds. Only the sound of the campfire could be heard. Blazes drew Saren's attention to the fire, and he noticed that Draco was still awake. The mage was casting fire familiars with a solemn look. A firebird danced before him, and then pecked at his nose. The familiar disappeared into soot, and Draco rubbed his nose, still uncharacteristically grave. Can't sleep? Draco was startled and shot up to greet Saren. Oh, hi! How's the guard duty? Even though he managed to smile, Saren knew there was something on Draco's mind. What's wrong? You can tell me. He laughed and shuffled his feet. You could always see right through me. You're right, I'm just worried. Saren walked closer to him without even thinking. You're thinking about the battle ahead? With Faust, yes. All that. We're strong and we have a strong army. It's not that. I know we're in great shape, it's just... I've heard bad things about battling Faust. Whatever he has in store for us will beat it. What if we can't? He met eyes with Saren as if he were trying to tell him something. Saren couldn't decode it. He was too struck by the feeling in the pit of his stomach from just looking at Draco like this. He wanted to be strong for everyone, and definitely for Loren. But at the end of the day, under the stars and by this campfire, he wanted to be strong for Draco. And it wasn't enough anymore. Draco was terrified of a future that he was sure was going to dawn. Nothing is going to happen to us. Can you promise that? Huh? You can't. You don't know. I promise. You can't. Yes, I can. No. Saren reached out and grabbed Draco by the shoulders. Let me just promise to you. Their throats went dry as neither said anything. They just stared at each other, face to face. A stray tear escaped from the fire mage. Saren's confidence was stolen. Draco. He was so sure that something bad was going to happen. Draco couldn't even muster a smile this time, and he could always smile. Saren had told himself that he had to be strong and remain strong, even if the dark cloud of the future was now upon him too. Everything will be okay. I promise. Draco's eyes moved between his. In one move, Saren wiped Draco's cheek dry and slid his hand into his blonde hair. He could feel Draco freeze from the intimate touch, and even Saren himself went rigid from realizing how long he had wanted to do that. Every forced smile that Draco gave him, every look that masked the pain underneath, Saren had wanted to bring the half-elf crashing towards him and show him that he wasn't alone. Saren's fingertips brushed against Draco's pointed ear as he pushed the blonde locks behind it, revealing his lineage. You should wear your ears like this. He pulled back from the mage's face, feeling his stomach tighten as he did. Draco visibly choked back emotion. It's cute. Draco gritted his teeth as if trying to hold back even more tears. Draco couldn't hold back any longer, and fled into his tent for solitude. Saren stood in the same spot for a long time. So much doubt had just been cast on him. What did Draco know about the upcoming battle that broke him so completely? When had the two of them reached a point that they cared so very much about losing one another? And what did that mean? Saren could not shake Draco's image from his mind all night. Ooh, it's getting serious. It's getting really serious. Saren stood on the edge of a steep cliff, looking down into the ravine. Since they had made camp, he had been drawn to it. Now he stared into the depths and swamped himself with his thoughts. The Grand World Army formed below, and he could see how it spanned for leagues. It was a force he had never seen before. But then, he had seen very little in his life. Saren had hoped to see more before the end. If Everburn was truly the end, in his heart it felt like it would be. If it came down to it, he would easily sacrifice himself for the good of Erevorn. There was no question about it. The dirt was disturbed behind him, and he turned dully to see the figure of Amukiki standing not far behind him. Neither said a word to the other. Saren returned to look down at the army, but it was too late. His thoughts were now about the gladiator. Silently, Amukiki stepped up beside him to share the view. And what a view it is! The army is strong. We will win the war. I know. Amukiki faced him. Saren turned slightly in the opposite direction. Do you? With Loren, I am sure of it. Victory is sealed. He continued to stare at him, as if he didn't completely believe him. Stop looking at me like that. He did not look away. The whole of the world may win, but not one victory is assured for any of us. We all have our own individual battles out there, and we have to face those alone. What is your battle? Saren focused on the small figures assembling below. I want a life that is my own, not anyone else's. I want to be a free man. You are free. Only as free as you. We're prisoners in our own culture, remember? I may not be a servant anymore, but I still belong at the Citadel. It is either return to that, or death, he refused to say. I have wanted to return to my tribe ever since I was exiled. I wanted to fold when the Hawk Blade rejected me, and return a broken man. I was to pledge to serve Princess Loren, end the war, and return to the south. That has all changed. It has changed because now I am truly a free man. Saren looked over and met Amukiki's gaze. How? I have stopped thinking with only my mind. It gave me many rules and obligations. It told me what I must do, not what I want to do. I must serve the princess. I must be the sword bearer. I must win tournaments. I must return to my tribe. You didn't want to do any of those things? Want was never a factor. I did what I needed to do, but I did not choose them freely. I must not want them. You spoke so highly of your nomad tribe, so I cannot believe that you don't want to return to them. That's what all this is about, wasn't it? Every tournament you won, all the honor and glory you tried to claim, you said it was to bring you back home. Home? Amukiki was mystified by the word, causing him to look off into the distance. Nomads don't have homes, do they? No, they do not. Good, because nothing will be left after Foss is done with Erevorn. We may worry about our future after the war. If we can. Saren let out a long breath. Amukiki turned back to him. Get your sword and meet me in the sparring circle. The gladiator left sharply. Saren looked at him as he walked away, insulted that he would give him an order, not a request. Saren clucked, shuffled, shook his head, opened his mouth to shout back at a retort, closed it again, swallowed, and then finally just got his sword and met Amukiki in the sparring circle. I like that part. That was a really great, well-written part. At the very least, Saren had hoped that he would be surprised to see that he showed up at all, but he wasn't. Amukiki was merely doing warm-ups. and greeted him with no words. Just as wordlessly, they stood across from each other and prepared for a match. Because in the end, he was right. Saren needed this, not only to take his mind off of his thoughts, but to sharpen his skills. Even as a thief, he needed this. It wasn't about strength in battle, or learning to dodge or parry. Saren needed the confidence and heart to face what was to come. It was almost as if Amukiki knew how much of that he lacked as he initiated round after round of sparring, not stopping till the dead of night, not until they were ready to collapse of thirst and exhaustion. That's actually kind of tantalizing. But their thoughts remained, and nothing was solved. They both looked forlorn at each other as they caught their breath. Saren began to ponder the distinction between obligation and desire, and if he wanted to continue to serve Loren, or if he even wanted to remain at the Citadel. Amukiki drank deeply from a bowl of water, and then poured some on his fresh wounds, just, pour down all over his dripping, ripped body. Instinctively, Saren stepped forward to heal him with his magic. He placed a hand on Amukiki's arm, causing him to close his eyes. Before he could summon magic, the gladiator's hand was on top of his hand. The touch almost froze time. But it didn't, and Amukiki pulled Saren's hand from him. "Give me these scars. I want them." Saren parted his lips to question him, but all they managed to do was trade long looks. Amukiki's hand was coarse against his own. Yet it wasn't unpleasant. Saren's exhaustion was replaced by a deep burning in the pit of his stomach. Eventually, Amukiki let go of his hand and broke away in silence. What Amukiki really wanted from life seemed even more a mystery, but now one that Saren needed to find out more than ever. Ooh! Interesting. Very interesting. Saren was awakened by a sound in his tent. He yawned and sat up, rubbing his eyes groggily. "Who's there?" The dark figure near the entrance came closer, creeping into Saren's bed furs. "Mesfit?" He silenced Saren with a hand over his mouth. Suddenly his heart was beating out of control. The rebel stared right into him until he was confident that Saren would not shout. He removed his hand and spoke quietly. "I'm leaving." "What?" "Come with me." Saren blinked rapidly. "You're not joking. Gods, you're being serious." "We can do it. I have the power." "Listen to yourself." "I am. We both deserve freedom. Break the chains of your slavery. You chose life. Now choose this." Mesfit grabbed Saren's arm and slid his hand down to his wrist in a tugging motion. "Take it. Take freedom. Run with me." The Dark Elf's passion caused a vision of a prospective life with him to flash in Saren's mind. Nothing he could conceive ended well. The world was still in peril, and there was no land far enough that they could reach without it ultimately consuming them. If Saren didn't stand against the evil here and now, he feared he would never be able to again. "No." Saren tossed Mesfit's hand from him. "I will not abandon Loren now. You know what needs to be done in Everburn. We have a duty to Aravorn to complete it, but you're running away?" Mesfit swallowed and hardened his features at the accusation. "All this time, I thought you knew what had to be done. I thought you realized the importance of what we were doing. I thought you were above this." Saren felt a great pain in his chest from what he was saying. He gritted his words through his teeth. "I'm a big idiot, aren't I? Run like you always do. No one will care this time." Mesfit's chest rose several times as he stared at Saren for a while. Then he bolted for the opening in the tent. Saren caught his arm and pulled him backwards. The Dark Elf fell back against him, but thrashed to attempt to escape again. He pushed Saren from him, but Saren slammed all of his body weight against Mesfit, knocking him down. Mesfit rolled over and glared at him. "You said you weren't supposed to actually go." They each were breathing deeply, but for different reasons. "The call is getting stronger. Each day we get closer to those mountains. The call takes my sight and my hearing. I am not myself. I am one of them." Saren's grip on Mesfit loosened. His demon blood was getting stronger as they grew closer to their goal. "Free me." Saren almost did. He took such pity on him that he wanted to let the Dark Elf go, but then he discarded the thought. "You can break the demon thrall. I've seen you do it so many times. If there's a chance I can bring you out of it, then I can't let you go. The look of anger on Mesfit's face had drained. His face was devoid of any expression. They gazed at each other, stuck in a moment neither of them quite understood. Saren spoke what first came to his mind. Don't go. Mesfit's eyes flickered, but he didn't surrender. I will. Don't let me succeed. Mesfit only gave him a second warning before he shoved off and disappeared from the tent. Saren ran after him and chased after him as he fled from camp. The Dark Elf was not as quick as he usually was, as if he was trying to slow himself on purpose, as if he was conflicted within himself. Saren caught up with him and tried to subdue him, but his demon strength emerged. He managed to make some progress in returning Mesfit to camp, but then he'd break free again. They repeated this battle to a point of exhaustion. Saren crawled on top of the demon Mesfit and pressed him firmly to the ground until his fight left him. They huffed against each other until they blacked out. Wow, this is getting really, really kinky. They woke the next morning, realizing they had fallen asleep in the meadow. Camp was on the horizon. Saren succeeded. Mesfit was his regular self when he looked up at him, still on top of him. You can't do that every night. Though every muscle in Saren's body ached, he knew he would be capturing him every night if that's what it took. I don't want to. That's for blessed and sure. It would become routine from them on. Mesfit had become too skilled at breaking any bonds, even others' knots, that Saren was forced to guard Mesfit where he slept every night. Some nights, Mesfit would not run, and they would both be able to sleep. On other nights, Saren would wake to Mesfit's escape attempt. Saren would spend every drop of energy he had to catch and return Mesfit. But it kept Mesfit there, and Saren could tell that Mesfit was grateful, even though he hid it well. No one seemed to know of the escape attempts, or if they did, they spoke nothing of them. It was a secret and a burden, but Saren was going to share Mesfit's pain until neither could stand it any longer. The reason why was both a mystery and as clear as day. Mesfit's affection increased. Oh my. Oh yeah, look at all that. Which one should I pick, guys? Which one? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Saren saw Dora sulking on a log by the fire. She was frowning deeply, so he walked up to her. What's the matter? Dora snapped up straight and covered up something in her lap. Nothing. Right, and my name's Finkelstein Burpmeister. Okay. Promise not to tell anyone, okay? Dora uncovered her lap and revealed Rames's family gemstone. Saren crossed his arms at how predictable she was. Don't be shocked, but this isn't mine. Yes? Rames dropped it. Are you sure? He left it lying around. Dora. Okay, I stole it. She hunched over, realizing how loud she shouted that. Fair and square. I see. And why do you look so sad? Feeling guilty? Is that what this is called? Guilt? Weird. So you feel bad from stealing this, from Rames? I do. She looked up at Saren with watering eyes, unlike he had ever seen her. I just can't help it. It was there, and it was shiny, and I just took it even though I didn't want to. Not from him. You feel particularly bad for stealing from Rames? Yeah, I don't want to steal from him. I really like this. I can't stop looking at it, but I feel so wrong. What should I do? Confront Rames, for goodness sake. Get yourself a room already. If you want to clear your conscience, you have to go up to Rames and apologize. That's insane! I've never done that ever. Well, there's a first time for everything, especially for someone like him that you clearly care about. You feel bad for taking it, don't you? I'm sure Rames will be touched that you cared so much to return it. You think? I know. Well, I guess I should face him because this feeling is just awful and needs to go away soon. Dora hopped up, nodded to herself, and made her way over to Rames. Saren smiled, hoping that Rames would finally get the courage to say what was in his heart. Dark magic has stricken the Citadel. Our enemies are growing clever. They have learned our base of operations, and so our time of relative safety is growing short. Are you prepared? I have been preparing every day since the old war was won. Really? Why? You killed Faust. Didn't you think he was going to remain dead? At first, I think I did, but I was so maddened by the end, by what it took to win the war, I could not celebrate and live in peace. I was not allowed that. I spent the days after returning to Grimoires, studying Faust's kind in the realms. Days transformed into years, and now 40 years have passed.